Welcome Kombucha crew. Today we're going to be brewing our base kombucha, and we're going to take this up to the end of the first fermentation. If you're wanting to demystify the art of brewing kombucha at home, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Are you ready for the adventure? Let's dive in. So what we're going to need is either black tea or green tea, or a mixture of both. And then you're going to need some white sugar. You're going to need a SCOBY, which is the symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. One of the things you want to take into consideration is the quality of the ingredients you have. This is technically an organic tea. It's a very delicious tea. We've drank sweet tea as a family for a while, and we just usually buy the basic tea from the store, and it's good, but this has substantially better flavor, and it also makes a better kombucha. So the recipe I typically use is 2 tablespoons of loose leaf tea or 8 tea bags, and then a cup of regular white sugar. Feel free to adjust it to your taste. So the tools you're gonna need are a measuring cup and also a tablespoon to measure out the loose leaf tea. And then you're gonna need a saucepan to boil your water and a spoon to stir it with. You're also going to need a glass jar, and then you're gonna need some sort of breathable material, so either cloth or a coffee filter. I just use a coffee filter because it's cheap and easy to switch out. And then a rubber band to secure the coffee filter on there to keep a tight seal, to keep bugs and dust out. All right, so let's go ahead and actually get to brewing. What I like to do is I take four cups of water. So there's 2, here's the other 2. So we've got a total of 4 cups in there. And then what I like to do is go ahead and put this on the stove to boil. When the water is boiling, I just go ahead and prep everything else to get it ready so that once it's done boiling, I can kind of just cruise on through. I can already have all my ingredients away and not have to worry about cleaning up after I get done. So the water is done boiling, and so now I'm going to go ahead and take my tea and put it into the boiling water. Just go ahead and give it a stir so that we can get the leaves all nice and moistened. I typically let this brew for about 20 minutes, and then I'll come back and strain off all the leaves and add the sugar to it. All right, so now that that's been steeping for about 20 minutes, what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna strain it out, and we're going to add the sugar to it, dissolve the sugar in it, and then add cold water. Add my 1 cup of sugar. Make sure that all the sugar is dissolved into the tea. So now that our sweet tea concentrate is finished, what I like to do is add some water from the fridge as well as some ice to just bring that temperature down and a safe level for the SCOBY or starter tea. And now that we have our sweet tea base mixed, what we're gonna do is add it to our 1 gallon glass vessel. It doesn't have to be a gallon, but anytime you're fermenting kombucha, it should be in a glass vessel. And now it's time to pour in our starter tea, or our SCOBY. So if you don't have a SCOBY or starter tea from a previous batch, what I used for my first round of kombucha was actually Vitalife kombucha from Aldi's, and the Ginger Awakening variety only contains 2% juice. And so they tell you to use unflavored kombucha. I had no issues using the Ginger Awakening, so if you're looking for one just at the store and you can't find completely unflavored, my advice would be just go with the lowest level of juice that you can find. If you do have a previous batch that you've used, you can either decide to add your pellicle to the mix or leave it out. It's definitely debated. I see everybody saying yes or no. I've done it both ways and I don't really see much of a difference. So it's kind of up to you to decide what you want to do. And especially on your first batch, you do not need a pellicle to start. Like I said, I started with just store-bought kombucha. So now that we have our starter liquid and our sweet tea mixture all put together, what I like to do is just give it 1 quick stir to get everything blended together. And then I take a paper towel and wipe off the top of my vessel because I use a coffee filter for my lid. And so if it's wet on top, then it can damage the coffee filter, which then gives you an opening for bugs and other dirt and dust to get in, which could cause mold or just basically contaminate your kombucha. Once you got your coffee filter on, you just put your rubber band around it, and now this is good to go. You want to set your kombucha off to the side out of direct sunlight, and you want to leave it in a decently warm place. If it's too cold, it's not going to brew fast enough, which could lead to getting moldy. And then if it's really hot, then it's going to kill your SCOBY. But now we're going to play the waiting game. It takes usually between 5 to 10 days for the kombucha to ferment to the level of the right sweet to sour ratio. I like to start checking it on day 5 just so that it doesn't go too far before I have tasted it, so I know that it's good to go. During this time, you'll see a lot of different things happening with your kombucha. One of the things is you'll see it to start to fizz, and you might see some bubbles rising up. You'll also see typically a pellicle starting to form on it. And once you have all that going, you know that you've pretty much got a healthy batch. What you want to do is, when you are taste testing it, just check it, and you're gonna look on top just to see, make sure that there's not any mold or anything funky on there. The way that I like to taste test mine is by taking a metal straw, and I just kind of stick it down in there and with my finger off, and then I put my finger back on and lift it up out and let it drop into my mouth. So once it reaches a balance of sweetness and tartness that you like, your first fermentation is done. And there you have it. You have your first batch of homebrewed kombucha. Congratulations. Your next steps are going to be to flavor it and bottle it for your F2. F2 is a process which allows the kombucha to get even more carbonated and to accept the flavors of the ingredients that you add into it. If you're ready for those next steps, just click on the video linked above. In that video, we get into flavoring and second fermentation. That's where the fun can really begin. If you found this video helpful in any way, please give it a thumbs up and let me know how your first fermentation went down in the comments. I'd love to hear. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, and we will love to have you along for all the home brewing fun. Happy brewing, everyone.